Welcome to Adaptation, the book to movie podcast. I'm Nate.
And I'm Chris.
And today we are talking about Project Hail Mary, written by Andy Weir, and its film adaptation directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Had to make sure I got the correct pairings of names there. Sorry, Phil and Chris. But before we dive into our conversation, how are you, Chris, doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Nate?
I'm doing pretty well. It's sunny and warm here finally. It feels like spring has sprung, and makes me anxious to stop being at work and go outside.
Yeah.
You been reading anything good lately?
I finally finished freaking do you remember when we did Hamnet? I was like, I should read some more Shakespeare. Maybe I'll I don't know, enjoy it more. So I fired up King Lear.
Oh, I love King Lear.
Written King Lear?
Yeah, sure. Any version. What are you talking about?
I assumed you would have consumed, like, didn't Ian McKellen do a adaptation of it?
Oh, I don't think he did. I think Anthony Hopkins did one recently, and Al Pacino is doing one later this year, I think. I mean, I studied Shakespeare throughout college.
Right.
High school and college. So, yeah, King Lear's my favorite one.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're not going to be happy then. I despised it.
Despised it?
It was like twice as long as I wanted it to be.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know. I just did not. I guess I'm not the Bartolator I thought I was. I don't know what, but
Bartolator. That's a good word.
Isn't that a good word?
Is that a real word?
It's a real word. I remember distinctly in 6th grade when we did our Shakespeare unit, Mrs. Istis had a word of the day, and one was Bartolator because she was a huge Shakespeare nut. And that's literally all it applies to, people who are Shakespeare nuts.
Wow. Well, I wonder what the transcription is going to pick up on, if it's going to get that right.
There's no way.
We'll find
out. I was super on board with it for maybe the first half, and then it just felt like it was dragging. I don't know.
And that's kind of, we've talked about how before the characters, any characters sort of waffling over what's right or not in a story where it's pretty objectively clear are not your favorite stories either. And that's a story about a lot of bad people getting a lot of good opportunities.
True.
So
okay.
That actually doesn't stun me that you didn't like it.
I also completely misunderstood the interaction with him and his daughters in the very opening scene. And so having to go back and rewire how I was viewing the characters, which is 100% my fault as the reader. I don't know. Just not my. I don't know.
It's also Shakespearean English, so you've got to give yourself, and it's written as a play, not a book. So there's a lot of sort of gaps that you have to fill in when you're reading it in 2026.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel that I cannot give up on reading Shakespeare, but it's going to be a long time before I convince myself to try something else.
Well, we've got a Shakespeare episode later this year, so you better patch that up.
Yeah. Hopefully you've been enjoying watching stuff more than I have reading.
Yeah, I haven't been to the theater that much again. Still, the beginning of the year has been a little slow. I think the only time two times I've been to the theater since we last recorded. One was to see Project Hail Mary, and the other was to see the 50th anniversary IMAX screening of Tommy, The Who's Tommy.
Oh, that had to be awesome.
It was so awesome. I was the youngest person in the audience by 32 years at least. And it was so fun to watch it with these people that like clapped and cheered every time. You know, that movie is full of like Tina Turner makes an appearance and Elton John makes an appearance and Eric Clapton makes an appearance. So it was really fun. All these people like cheered when their favorites came on to do obviously very famous songs from The Who, and it's a like 10 out of 10 energy movie as it is. So that was a really fun screening.
And I assume this wasn't the first time you've seen it.
It was.
Oh, wow.
I know. I loved it. I really loved it, and yeah, I'm glad that the first time I got to see it was on the big screen and in IMAX.
Yeah, what a cool way. I've still never seen it.
It's crazy. Or it's sort of similar to Rocky Horror Picture Show in that you're constantly like, what on earth is going
Uh-huh.
on? And of course, it's a musical set to rock music. So it's a lot of fun. But speaking of Project Hail Mary, let's dive in. Tell me a little bit about this book.
Okay, yeah. So real quick before I discuss this book, a couple, I called them disclaimers. That's not right. Corrections, I suppose, from last episode. I think I called it the suspension of reality, Tolkien's writing. What I meant was a suspension of disbelief.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you were like enraged by that. I was enraged at me by that. And the
I was
intentional
not enraged.
avoiding. Okay. I was like, how did I mess that up? So, for anyone unfamiliar, I was talking about writing and the more global idea. Suspension of disbelief is like the proper noun idea of intentionally avoiding logical thinking when dealing with a piece of work for the sake of enjoyment.
Sure.
So, I said that incorrectly. Perhaps I'm the only person that was enraged by that. That's fine. And I also objected with myself. I made a statement that modern authors were not dealing with language on the cool level or caliber that Tolkien did, and immediately want to correct myself. I'm sure there are other examples, but particularly R.F. Kuang, and specifically like Poppy Wars didn't go a ton into language, but her book Babel definitely does in a very cool way that I would argue is akin. And bonus points, a lot of it takes place at, oh my gosh, what is that stupid university where Tolkien lived and worked forever?
Oxford?
Yeah, jeez. Oxford. Boy, I am losing it.
That's all right. This has been Chris's correction corner.
Correct. So if anyone was enraged by those two statements of mine as much as I was, apologies and corrections. Okay, Project Hail Mary. We're ready?
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Okay. A very, very contemporary novel. This was published by Andy Weir in 2021. He is
Wow.
obviously a current working author. I think I mentioned to you at the very end of the last episode that I would have a cool show note for you for this one. He has 3 now very famous novels, and for, I guess, I don't know if it was celebration of this or what, a YouTube channel that I happen to love and frequent, where this guy repairs old books and makes new books. It's a bookbinding channel.
That sounds like something you would love.
Way more exciting than it sounds, I promise. But Andy Weir contacted him and asked him to make a special set of these 3 novels for him.
Cool.
Super, super cool. Does these crazy designs and leather working. So I'll find the first one from that series and send it to you to put in the show notes.
Yeah, please do.
Highly recommend. Really cool to watch. So Andy Weir, a computer programmer from Davis, California, went to UC San Diego, but did not finish college. From what I was reading, he began programming when he was like 15 professionally, worked at Blizzard for a brief time early on.
Okay.
The company behind League of Legends and Warcraft, famous and controversial. There's a really cool book about that too, I suppose. Maybe I'll send you that if people are interested. But shifted from that to writing comics, to writing a lot of work actually that I was unfamiliar with. Comics, kind of long form series, short stories. But his big breakout and crazily his first published full novel was The Martian. which I assume you're familiar with.
Yes, I've never read the book, but I love the movie.
I think everyone saw the movie. Incredible.
Yeah.
Matt Damon, I think,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So absolutely insane for your first book. I was
Yeah.
reading online. I think I caught it past this point, but at least initially when it came out, new author, first big publication, it was like 99 cents on Kindle
Whoa.
and obviously blew up, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
Good for him.
Yeah, right? So cool, so cool. So that was his first one. I didn't even look up the publication order, but these are his big three. The Martian first, and now Project Hail Mary and Artemis, which I have not read yet. But you need to hear the awards list is just insane. I'll skip past The Martian since that's not what we're talking about, but it has like 15 awards that it was either nominated for or won. But for just Project Hail Mary, won the year it came out, Dragon Award for science fiction novel. Goodreads Choice Awards won. The next year, the Suen Award for translated work. It's been translated into tons of languages, tons and tons.
Love
His
it.
books are famous around the world. Audio Awards for Audiobook of the Year, which is very cool. I guess I was going to talk about it later, but I'll mention it now. I saw a very cool interview with the gentleman who recorded the audiobook for this, and they asked him what he does to prepare. And I don't remember if he said he does this for all books, but for this one specifically, he deliberately did not read it himself first so that
Cool.
his reactions would be essentially what I'm paraphrasing his words, essentially what the reader's reactions would be.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it comes across. This was my second reading of Project Hail Mary. The first one I read a physical copy, so this time I tried the audiobook, and it's spectacular. That's exactly what comes across, like at these big,
That's so awesome.
incredible,
I've
incredible,
heard from people too that the audiobook is good. Like
so good.
potentially even a superior experience. Like it's quite famous for its audiobook.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I would agree, but kind of. I can definitely see the argument. I do not
Sure.
out of hand disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. It's very good. The narrator, we've talked about this before. The narrator makes or breaks
Yeah.
an
100%.
audiobook.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? For this one too, I would probably agree. I think I would
Wow.
specifically recommend the audiobook to people for Project Hail Mary,
Cool.
which I hadn't thought about before you brought it up. I mean, the book is still excellent, but yeah, the audiobook's fantastic. Absolutely
Cool.
killer. I mean, won an award for it.
Yeah.
So that was for just the award for just the audiobook. A second audio award for science fiction.
Cool.
Nominations, the Locust, the Hugo, which are the big
Oh yeah. Hugo's
sci-fi
huge.
novels, and then another sci-fi novel, the Geffen Award in 2023. I mean, just
Racking them
people loved
in.
it.
Yeah.
Yep, and clearly for good reason. The Goodreads, oh yeah, right here. 4.5 stars on Goodreads, which is crazy. Anything over 4 I immediately consider, and
Yeah.
that's out of 1.3 million ratings.
That's unbelievable. That's an average too. So,
Yep.
geez.
That means like 500,000 people at least gave it 5 stars. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy numbers. And very much like The Martian, and he has stated that this is his intention, obviously, but these are whatever. His focus is making the scientific aspects very, very accurate, very specific, much like Handmade, a lot of her books as an actual doctor, she makes very, very
Oh, right.
accurate. That was part of it, right?
Yeah.
I think his father was a physicist. I think he was a professor at UC Davis, something like that. So very much familiar with it, but still also himself deliberately researching and being meticulous about that in his writing, which was what The Martian was big for, and of course what Project Hail Mary is big for. Kind of leaning into, I was thinking about how I would summarize that, preparing for this. And I would say this is sort of a shift we've seen, or I've seen. Perhaps it's been there all along and I'm just being exposed to the books now. But of the sci-fi genre, there is this focus now, a lot of popular books in it leaning on the science part of sci-fi.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where the very early, the precursor, Ursula Le Guin, there was more science was involved and it was more the fiction side.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. A lot of it, because the focal point really is how cool and how realistic the science feels, the plot itself is not super complex. The Earth is dying. This mystery line, named the Petrova line after the person who discovers it, sort of appears in the night sky out in space, and they realize it's I was trying to describe it myself. I didn't look back into the book how they described it, and so mine sounds like a kindergartner describing this book.
Good, because when it comes to science fiction, I'm kind of a kindergartner.
Well, that's the brilliance. That's the brilliance. 100%. That's exactly the goal, right? None of us are physicists.
Right. Not many, anyway.
Yes, I'm sure someone who reads it is, but I don't know them. They realize it's these tiny mystery cell type beings sucking up the energy from the sun.
Right.
They name it astrophage in the book. And they can't figure out why, but it's sucking up the energy from the sun, leading to an inevitable extinction event as the Earth cools.
Here on Earth, yeah.
And everybody dies, yeah. So that's the not even the thrust of it. That's the whole story.
Right.
How do we stop this?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we're following this junior high science teacher / scientist turned astronaut who studies this stuff. I'm skipping vast swaths of cool information, but this is the summary. And I only realized on my second reading here, they call it Project Hail Mary, Earth's Hail Mary throw at stopping itself from being destroyed. And his name is Dr. Grace. They just call him Grace Ryland or Highland. What's his first name?
I think Ryland.
That sounds right. They only say it a few times, and
he even identifies, at least in the movie, calls himself Grace.
Yes,
quite a bit.
Yeah, constantly, yeah. And I only realized this second reading through that means it was the ship Hail Mary, with its one astronaut Grace, so it's Hail Mary full of grace, which I thought it gave me a chuckle.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not Catholic, but it gave me a little chuckle.
He's also the saving grace.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
I should have dug more into this. I don't know how deliberate that was. I mean, the book obviously is not this like attempt to proselytize or something, but I did think that gave me a chuckle.
Yeah.
The crux of, I think, what makes it so cleverly written, and it's been so long since I read The Martian, I don't remember how Weir approached this problem in that book, but it's the problem of obviously a small cast of characters for the most part, for the majority of the book. And then, how do I say this? The cool part is him doing crazy experiments and discovering things. So how do you tell that story without it being this omniscient narrator monologue? Brilliant solution. They send him into space. It's a 4 Earth year journey. And this is the part where anytime they start getting into the time dilation of space travel, that's where they lose me.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it. I don't understand what the speed of light means, and I don't want to.
Nope. Every single time I think, okay, this time, because this is a pretty popular thing to write about.
Yeah.
Three body problem, which we failed to make our episode about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was this way down the scale of the sci-fi? And I tried really hard to keep up with that one. Yeah. The same thing, that book that I told you about last episode that I just finished, There Is No Anti-Memetic Division.
Right.
same thing. The science part's super cool. They start getting into time, and I don't know why. That's just
I
this like
know.
black curtain in my brain.
Well, it's an
Loses
extra
me.
layer on top of everything else, you know?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
another dimension, if you will.
Yeah.
I, I accidentally mentioned that in class one day because we were talking about the change when we got to the geometry unit from
Yeah.
2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. And a kid goes, okay, well, what's the fourth dimension? And I go, time. And they just stared at me. I'm like, no, no, no,
He's like,
no.
don't worry. Don't worry.
Ask me no questions. We are not getting into that.
Oh, those poor kids.
But what a. Oh, I didn't even describe it yet. I was about to start lauding it. Man, I am out of it today. Do I look crazy?
No,
I don't think so.
not any
I
crazier
feel
than
crazy.
usual.
I need to stay up. I was telling you before we started recording, I need to stay up late tonight because we're going to a 9:15 showing of this movie.
Yeah.
So I made like a gallon and a half of tea. And I usually cut off caffeine about 2 p.m. at school.
Yeah.
And I am wired right now. So the cool writing device. Good. The show don't tell aspect, whatever. It's in print. In some ways, as we've discussed previously, easier. In some ways, definitely harder. This is incredible. We start out with him already on the ship, Grace. And because it's a 4 Earth year trip, their worry is that this confined space, the 3 astronauts that they're sending, will start bickering and getting in fights and like kill each other. I don't know if that's what real astronauts worry about, but that feels very realistic to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they put them in a medically induced coma, which again, I'm skipping a ton of very fun, cool flavor. They explain it to such a degree in the book that certainly for a layman like me, it's far beyond plausible. It just sounds real.
Yeah.
And that actually even gets into how he ends up on the ship, everything. That's a pretty cool storyline that I think I'll leave alone, leave some parts to
Yeah.
be
Oh, yeah. That is
fun
cool, actually. But
discoveries.
yeah.
I'm so curious how they treat that in the movie, but I think that's a cool tidbit for people to find on their own.
Yeah.
So he wakes up from this medically induced coma, and the narrative is progressed through these memory flashbacks that slowly take time to come back to him.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool way to give us all of the details, all of the backstory we need, while the story itself is a relatively compressed amount of real time.
Sure.
And then eventually, it's almost entirely what's happening. Yeah, very, very brilliant solution to what could easily have been boring, dry, or just not pragmatic. That would not have been a fun story. It would have been 2,000 pages.
Yeah.
So super cool writing device. The other aspect is this incredible explanation of the science happening. He had to make up an entire biological instance that's destroying humanity. But I do want to take a brief foray into a soapbox. It bothers me so much when shows and movies just refer to whatever's happening as science.
What do you mean?
I'm going to go do science now.
I don't think I'm really picking up what you're putting down. What are there movies that say that?
Did you ever watch Orphan Black?
No.
Okay, that's shocking. First of all, go watch it. Super cool show.
Mm.
This lady finds out she's part of this like secret government cloning program, and there are a bunch of her all over the place.
Okay.
And they're constantly saying this. No, we need the science.
Oh, okay.
No, we need to do the science first.
Yeah, okay.
No, we need the data. No, you need to go do the experiments. It rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
I was hoping that you would commiserate with me.
Sure. I mean, I
why.
like specificity too. I wish I knew what you were talking about.
So anyway, and they don't do it often in this one.
Okay.
Um, he
Yeah.
meets an alien
Yeah.
and names him Rocky. I'll leave the details. That part's super fun too.
Yeah.
But the other, obviously for me, doubly exciting, there's this really cool sequence where he figures out how to communicate with this alien that he
Yeah.
meets.
Super cool.
Kind of along the, this was also a huge sci-fi movie like 5 years ago. When
Arrival.
they show up. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We
Yeah.
dig into
Great
the
movie.
linguistics, figuring it out, determining Rocky doesn't have a mouth, so he produces notes and chords up to chords of like 5 notes at one time.
Yeah.
And Grace has to duct tape two computers together, one running the waveforms to track the notes, and then building his own dictionary to translate. Fantastic.
Yeah. It was cool.
Delightful.
Yeah.
And the combination of human science understanding. See, there I go. Now I'm doing it. Crap. Okay.
Oh,
Human understanding and knowledge compared to this other civilization, and the realizations that they help each other have, and the things they have to build to go through these experiments. Just so good. Fantastic. It
yeah.
was every bit as exciting. And I think this is the true test of a book. I guess I would say movies probably similar. The returnability, rewatchability,
Oh, sure.
readability.
That's definitely a big part. Yeah.
This one loses nothing on your second go around. I mean, obviously the movie is much more recent, but did that feel similar? Like, do you already know? Yeah, I'll watch this again in a year, and it'll be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I saw the movie 4 or 5 days ago now, and have considered going to see it again multiple
Wow.
times since then. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know. Usually that feels more clear. The cause,
Okay.
and I don't know what it is about this one. Just that it's intricate enough to be interesting, but still a fun storyline. I'm not really sure.
The movie, yeah. I mean, it's a serious crowd pleaser, right? Like it taps into very, very human emotions, you know,
Yes,
no pun
yes.
intended. And I think, I'll talk about this a little bit too in the movie section, but it's a very funny movie, which is actually something that you have asked me about before. And it's visually dazzling. I'm kind of giving away my whole spiel here, but yeah, there's a lot I think that makes it returnable,
Okay,
rewatchable.
okay. My last point was I think one of the particularly appealing parts is the exact right amount of comedy that he mixes in.
Yeah, I'm curious to talk more about how much of it is comedic because I was laughing almost the entire time.
It really is woven in about that amount. I think what makes Grace such a relatable character, it's like, frankly, it's the opposite of a lot of the characters in these stories that we've discussed. You are 100% on his side. You 100% want him to succeed. And there's an aspect that I guess I don't know if it was the intended purpose. It had to be at least somewhat. It's so pivotal to the story. Not every single time, but many of the situations that have this kind of comedic relief valve, you at least a little bit pause, and they mention it explicitly a number of times. The crux of this story is Earth is going to die. All
Right.
humanity is going to go extinct. Why would you be joking at a time like this?
Yeah.
And you kind of have to pause and step back and say, no, no, we do this every day.
Yeah.
If we didn't, it would be unbearable.
Right. Oh yeah, 100%.
When he gets so excited, the translation part I think is done so brilliantly because he's not suddenly magically communicating no problem. He leaves Rocky's speech very stilted in the way that someone who has been speaking a new language for 10 days would.
Right.
And there's a hilarious part. Grace gets so excited at one of their breakthroughs that he tries to teach him a fist bump. And I assume they left that as is in the movie. Yeah.
They must have, yeah, because that's a pretty signature joke in the movie too. Comes up a couple of times. Yeah.
And that's exactly the amount. He doesn't wear it out, but first Rocky is saying, "Fist my bump." And then at really the very late stage, final breakthrough, just goes, "Yeah, fist me."
That was not, I don't think that was what they
Grace
do in the
is
movie,
trying to
but
explain, no, fist bump.
right. Yeah, that would have probably made its rating go up. A line like that.
Really
They
changed some
probably had
things.
to eliminate that one.
Well, and it's very comical for us, distressing to Grace at the time when he's training the new astronauts, and the very pragmatic, straight-laced, nearly robotic astronaut that he's trying to train sits down for a meeting and just says, "By the way, appropriate disclosure would dictate that I tell you this other, God, what is she, astronaut or whatever, and I have engaged in a sexual relationship." And Grace is kind of just saying, "Cool, don't care."
Yeah, he's like, don't tell me that.
Right. And the other astronaut sits down, and it's the French guy, Dupois, I don't know, insert French name here, and Dr. Shapiro. And she sits down for this meeting, the three of them, and she goes, "Oh, by the way, we have 15 minutes of personal time after this briefing. Would you like to go down to the hallway bathroom and have sex?" And he goes, "That sounds quite agreeable to me, Dr. Shapiro." And Grace is trying to ignore this, but also goes, "Don't need to know, don't need to know. Wait, do you call her Dr. Shapiro during sex?" And the guy goes, "Of course I do. That's her name." That's phenomenal.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
They're on the verge of launching this mission that's taken them a decade to prepare, all the research in the entire world, and he, how human is that? Don't want to know, don't want to know. Wait, is that what you call her?
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what you and I would do in that situation.
Yeah.
Oh, it's delightful.
Yeah.
That's all I have about the book. Absolutely phenomenal book. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm very curious. When I first heard it was Pretty Boy.
Gosling.
Yep. I questioned it, and that was before I had started my reread. And then now this time reading through it again, the core of the story obviously stays with you, but those little interactions,
Yeah.
And by chapter 3, I was just thinking, oh no, Ryan Gosling was the exact correct person.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Just because I always like to include some of the writing as an example. I do have a good example of this that made me laugh out loud both times.
Great, let's hear it.
So the Iridians, Rocky, the alien species that Grace meets, obviously he has to explain all of these differences, which we will not get into, but are very cool and very well described in the book. And he's describing sleep to Rocky.
Yeah.
And the way he does it in the book, and I hope they kept it in the movie, he's like talking about, how could I describe this? And he says, "I can't imagine explaining sleep to someone who'd never heard of it. Hey, I'm going to fall unconscious and hallucinate for a while. By the way, I spend a third of my time doing this, and if I can't for a while, I go insane and eventually die. No need for concern." 100% accurate, 100% sounds insane.
Yep, it does.
And those are kind of sprinkled throughout.
Well, this movie, the screenplay was written by Drew Goddard, who also, interestingly, adapted The Martian. So there's a lot of similarities, obviously in the structure, but really kind of just, how those movies came to the screen. They've got the same person interpreting them. And frankly, I think some people kind of maybe would call this like a ripoff or something like that of The Martian. And at that point, I would point them to the fact that they were both written by the same guy and be like, I don't know. It's kind of just like these guys shtick, and they do a really good job at it.
Yeah.
So um, I don't know, just kind of an interesting talking point that's been thrown around a little bit over the past couple of
Ah.
weeks because it is about a guy that goes to space solo, right, and has to science his way out of it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. The movie's directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. Like I said, they were mostly known for comedies as well. Particularly, they did the 21 Jump Street movies and the Lego movie, which was a pretty big hit, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago. And they also produce the animated Spider-Verse movies. So they've really come to be known as people that are really inventive with their medium and able to net a pretty big audience because of how well they understand humor in particular, but I think more specifically the humanity in what makes things funny, I guess maybe is a
Yeah.
good way to put that.
Yeah.
So they did a really great job directing. Like you said, it stars Ryan Gosling as Dr. Grace and Sandra Hüller, a German actress, as the head of Project Hail Mary. This movie drops a lot of what I can only assume is sort of politicking in the book. We don't know a ton about who put together Project Hail Mary or any of the other staff members on it besides a handful of people that are going to go to space. Really, we just get everything from I need to look up the character's name because she doesn't play an American either.
Strop.
Something like that. Let me look it up real
Yeah.
time.
Goodness gracious. I just finished reading this too.
Ava Stratt, Stratt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if she's supposed to be German, but European of some kind. And those are kind of, with the exception of Rocky, those are kind of the only two characters in the movie. So really interesting dynamic that they have set up there. This movie was made by Amazon MGM, and they began to procure the rights to the book in 2020 before it was even published because The
Wow.
Martian was such a huge success, both at the box office and it got lots and lots of awards nominations. And I think that's probably in the future for Project Hail Mary as well. One of the really cool things about this movie is that is supposedly no green screen whatsoever. So all of the incredible shots of outer space and the alien and the alien's ship and all of that is either practical or comes from computer generated imagery or is done by projection, which is just kind of a cool, like DIY, do it with your hands filmmaking technique that I really like to see
Yeah.
on screen. And it looks incredible. Some shots honestly just like floored me, had me just with my jaw wide open. Greg Fraser was the cinematographer, and he's one of the best in the genre game. So he's really just going full throttle here. Rocky is also all practical. It's a combination of puppeteering and animatronics, which is
Wow.
incredible in 2026 because so many of the major blockbuster movies we see now have this over reliance on computer generated imagery and animation.
Mm-hmm.
And it like outpaces the movie's budget, and then it looks like crap when it hits the screen. And the other cool thing about doing it practically is that Ryan Gosling has said that it really helped his performance to be able to actually look at this thing and talk to it instead of it being like a tennis ball that they would superimpose an image over later and he has to pretend to know what they're going to do. Like he saw the same Rocky that we saw, so he was able to deliver supposedly a more realistic performance. I say that because we don't interact with aliens, so we don't know, at least to our knowledge.
So this is a very deliberate choice on the movie maker's part.
Yeah. Amazon claims that the trailer, which was released last year, racked up 400 million views in its first week, which at the time made it the most viewed trailer ever for a non-sequel or reboot. We've sort of talked in past episodes about how metrics like that were kind of like, how did you get that number? And how do you know that that people aren't like rewatching old trailers or something? But I think it's worth mentioning just to say that people have been really, really excited for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It had a budget of about $250 million, which is obviously enormous. That's like too much. You really shouldn't be spending that much on a money or on a movie. And about $50 million of that was tax credits and grants and things like that that sort of took away from that overall budget. So you'll see some misreporting around the budget and what it needs to make to break even. But 250, I want to be totally honest, that's like suicide. I don't know what on earth they were doing to give a movie a budget that size. It's projected to make between 63 and 65 million this weekend worldwide when it opens. We're recording this opening weekend. I got to see it a little bit early, and that's a pretty good opening, honestly, for really any movie this time of year, but especially a big budget one. I don't know that it will cross the threshold. It needs to make like $500,000 or $500 million, excuse me, to break even, and then let alone turn a profit. So we'll see. But
Is that realistic at all?
I mean, it depends how word of mouth is this weekend. You know, if people start going back over and over again, then we could get there. But Amazon has said that they measure success differently than most studios because, like, in their minds, this movie, regardless of how well it does in theaters, it's going to drive people to subscribe to Amazon Prime Video, where it will live presumably
Ah,
forever. Which there's some problems with that logic. It might not live there forever. Eventually, I mean, Amazon's got like money to throw away, so I don't really know why
yeah.
feel like this needs a closer look. But I also just think that we should be talking honestly about movies and why they're so expensive and what it takes to get one made and make it successful, because I think that would help a lot of people understand why some things don't get made, right? Because they
Yeah.
have a budget of $250 million, and that's just insane. Like, you just shouldn't spend that much money on a movie.
Yep.
All of that being said, reviews have been really, really positive for the most part. It has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 78 on Metacritic, which we talked about, you know, is the sort of better measurement for an actual quality of a movie. And I went to this screening. I walked really slowly out of the screening and out of the theater to my car because I wanted to hear what people around me were saying. And from what I picked up on, the movie is a little bit more comedic than the book, but for the most part follows it really, really accurately. So for those that have read the book and are wondering whether or not they should see the movie, it sounds to me, you know, we're recording this on opening day, so we'll see what social media says tomorrow. But it sounds to me
Mm-hmm.
like fans of the book would be pretty happy with the end result.
Okay.
So cool movie. I really, really loved it. Favorite of the year so far.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really great.
I
I'm really
hadn't.
excited for you to see it tonight.
No, you. I cannot believe we didn't open discussing this. The Oscars just happened,
Yes.
and if I've learned anything from you, it's that timing around those things is pretty important and deliberate.
Yeah.
So, is this like trying to get out and be the first good one for next year's Oscars? Did they get set behind and they intended it to be part of this most recent one?
No, I think the first thing you said was correct. It's becoming more common for one big movie early in the year to be recognized at the Oscars later in the year. Sinners is a great example. Everything Everywhere All at
Uh-huh.
Once. Those were both movies that came out in the spring and got. I mean, Sinners is the most nominated movie in the history of the Academy. So
Mm-hmm.
it's becoming a big thing. I think that's very much what they're shooting for here. They want this to be the
Okay.
big movie, and just having seen the movie, I can say that it's like a marvel of craftsmanship as well. Like I said, the cinematography. If it doesn't get nominated for cinematography, I'll be stunned if there's five better movies. and a lot of the visual effects, obviously bringing Rocky to life as well as they did. There's just a lot of things here that are so good that I think they will withstand a year's worth of conversation about other movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Obviously, as you know, well, not to your chagrin, you know me well, the Oscars do not matter to me.
Right.
I just was like, wait a minute, this is essentially as far as they
Yeah,
could be,
sort of. Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. The Oscars window is technically the first of the year to the end of the year, but they sort of drag it out so that they can have a few months where they can focus on campaigning. It's a big deal. But I mean, it's a lot of bullshit, really. It's because it's not a big deal.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But yeah, I do think that they're very much going for that. They want this to be like the first movie of the year that signals, just like Sinners did last year when everybody was like, you got to see Sinners. They want everybody to
Yeah.
think of Project Hail Mary when they think of 2026. Right? Yeah, 26
Yep.
in
There we go.
cinema.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very one of the reasons I love this award stuff is because it's also intriguey and political and sort of manipulative and like it's a
Uh-huh.
big game and it goes all year every year.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's a lot going. I was shocked. Maybe because you're my friend. You know what? Even if you were not the massive cinephile in my life as you are, Sinners was awesome and
Yeah.
super fun to see.
Yeah.
I had a lot of students who had not seen it until it won all these Oscars, and then they were like, "Okay, is it worth it? Should I go see it?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Have you been under a rock for the last year?"
Well, to their credit, it's rated R and you teach middle school. So they couldn't have gone to see it themselves.
Hadn't thought about that at all. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Hadn't thought about that at all. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Fine.
So sorry, sometimes I just got to show up somewhere and prove people wrong. It's kind of my thing. What kind of discussion questions do you have for me?
Okay. So the timeline jumping.
Uh-huh.
It is not even just a cool device, it's arguably necessary for the book's development. And I'm sure I will be proven wrong. But in my mind, I feel like that would be distracting for the movie. How do they deal with that? Is it like the whole, oh, hairstyle's different, time has passed? Or is it like just abundantly clear because of setting and the people? What is that like for the movie?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty clear because of setting and the people, right? You're either on a spaceship or an aircraft carrier in neutral waters so that
Uh-huh.
everybody can legally do whatever they need to. It's I think it's supposed to play like he's having these flashbacks, he's remembering things after being in a coma for the majority of 4 years. He's got some like amnesia going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I say I think because that is sort of one of the underdeveloped parts of the script is that to me it doesn't it's not necessarily clear that it's him having a flashback so much as the audience also has to learn what happened and what led to him being in space.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know how important it is that we know it's a flashback either. But there is some skipping back and forth, but it's pretty clear what I mean it's crystal clear what time period you're in when you're watching any given scene. So I didn't find it distracting at all.
Huh. See, it's super clear. All of those details are like exact in the book, you know. He wakes up, can't figure out why. To get into the controls, the computer keeps asking him what his name is, and he doesn't know what his own name
Oh,
is
right.
until. Is that the same?
Yeah, I think so. At the very, very beginning.
Yep.
Why can't I remember the very, very beginning? I couldn't tell you because it's a really
Okay.
long movie, too, is the other thing I'll say. So they pack a lot in there. But yeah, I mean, that's a structure that has been used a lot in film, the sort of revealing the past as you move through the present or the future.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it felt pretty natural to me, honestly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that was one of my, I guess not worries. I feel like I knew I would probably see the movie, but usually in a movie, I find it distracting.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if that's just a personal taste thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Okay. I was curious how Rocky is described physically in the book because I really love how he looks in the movie. Yeah.
So he's described in very significant detail. We get spider looking dude, which Grace literally tells him, "We have spiders on Earth and you look like that." Rocky, rock. I don't have a different way to say it as an adjective. A rocky carapace,
Yeah.
hence the name Rocky. His sort of breathing gills apparatus are described as very akin to a car radiator.
Sure.
And then the whole eating scene is described in great
That
detail.
is maybe the funniest scene. I think the people next to me must have been so annoyed. I was laughing for like 5 minutes. I couldn't get over the eating scene. It is so funny.
Again, the humor part where Rocky has been this such straightforward speaking
Yeah.
in very recently newly acquired or I guess he keeps speaking his own language. But the don't watch is gross. No. I want to see. I want to watch. Yep, that was gross. Just that's exactly how I would react.
Yeah.
Something's he also includes the very specific scientific term, which I've obviously never seen anywhere else, for an organism that only has one orifice. Maybe that's what mono orifice? Maybe that is exactly what he said. I wish I had written it down. And just the fact that that term exists is upsetting.
Yeah, but you love words that have weird backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah, but the full etymology is just the definition of the colloquialism, don't shit where you eat. That sucks.
Yes, it does.
That's bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you to see Rocky in that case because it sounds, based on what you're describing, it sounds pretty accurate to the book. I just love it. I think it's so hard. You know, we live in this world where we have like the image of an alien, right? The green guy with the bulbous head, or maybe he's gray. Or we
Yep.
also have Star Wars and Dune and Star Trek that have put so many versions of aliens in front of us. So to come up with something truly inventive that I at least didn't feel like I'd really seen before, big W.
Yes, 100% yes. That was one of the big things that stood out to me the first time I read this. This is truly a unique, fleshed out,
But not.
no pun intended, devoid of fleshed out character. Yeah, no, that stuck out to me as well. And I did wonder to an extent, it's so clear and detailed in the book. I assumed they would really have to put a lot of effort into mimicking it exactly for the movie.
Okay. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me just because like I said, it's so singular.
Okay. How does the science come across in the movie? All of these, I'm talking about the specific experiments they're doing, these discoveries he and Rocky are having. They're they're super interesting and very detailed in the book, but when I imagine trying to put that on the screen, it becomes like a dude in a lab coat with a beaker monologuing, and that doesn't sound exciting.
A lot of it is discussion between the two of them, and it's sort of
Okay.
interwoven with language jokes because Rocky doesn't know what he's saying, or they can't figure out the
Uh-huh.
word, or he's saying something wrong, or whatever. You name it, and they do it in the movie. A lot of the science, otherwise, though, is I have to assume. I'm trying to find a nice way to say it. I guess it's just sort of dumbed down, to like layman's
Okay.
science. And I say that because I could follow along with what they were saying. And if I were in that situation, if I were a fly on the wall in the real world between a human science astronaut, I would just be shitting my pants. I wouldn't have any idea what anybody was saying. So it's made digestible is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Which it is in the book as well for the most part.
Yeah.
But I think I understand exactly what you mean. There's a certain point where, all right, you've said three big numbers now.
Yeah.
You've reached your limit.
Right.
Stop saying more numbers.
Well, and even more so than I obviously was thinking a lot about The Martian during this movie and was expecting the science to be a lot like that movie, which was very much digestible, but maybe just a tiny bit out of grasp for me. They start talking about like doing gravity slingshots and stuff in that movie. And I'm like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. That's just too much knowledge that I don't have any interest in having. And Project Hail Mary never got to that point for me.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do you got?
Okay, I thought of this one late, but there are not a lot of characters. I mean, 90% of it is just him and Rocky. Is that just what they do? Does it feel weird? Because even for, what did you call it when it's tiny, like an ensemble cast, like not a lot of characters?
No, an ensemble cast has a lot. I don't know if there is a
Oh,
term for an anti-ensemble.
okay. Well, if there is a term, this is it I mean, it's basically the two of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one's an alien. So is the movie just like 90% Ryan Gosling and that's it?
It's a lot of Ryan Gosling, yeah. I mean, like wall to wall. But
Okay.
that's not too weird for movies. If you think about it, something like Castaway or the movie Send Help that I saw a couple weeks ago is another one where they're stranded on a beach. It's a pretty common thing in movies.
Okay.
It's just a storytelling device.
Okay. It felt strange to me when I tried to picture it on the screen. And it doesn't feel strange at all in the book, but you spend a lot of the book in his head. And so that was the part that made me curious.
Oh, no, not so much in the movie. He's kind of an out loud guy. There's a lot of verbal processing with Rocky.
Yeah. Talking to each other, talking to himself.
Yeah.
Okay. And Rocky, even in the book, he does even comment on it at one point. Like, who are you saying that to? And he goes, I'm talking to myself.
Oh, funny.
I feel like I'm picturing maybe like a play or something. It would feel stranger. All I can picture in my head is like camera following one dude talking to himself for 2 hours. And that does not sound entertaining.
No, I think you're maybe underestimating how much time Rocky gets.
Okay.
He's never like the star of the show, but he balances it very, very well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, what would you, or not what, but who would you recommend this to?
I recommend it to everybody. This movie is such a crowd pleaser, and I don't think I've really done that yet. I mean, sometimes I do and say like you have to work a little bit to find the things you enjoy, but this is one that I really think probably everybody that sees it is going to enjoy. I walked out of the screening thinking about how excited I was to tell you and Blair that it's good. I walked out thinking my parents would love this, my sister would love this. And, a lot of the people I just mentioned are not really science fiction people either. I can even imagine one or two of them pushing back on wanting to, my recommendation to see it and me having to be like, just trust me, because it's very life affirming. It's very human. It's very funny. Like I said, the science makes sense and it doesn't get into any muckiness. So I don't have anybody that I wouldn't recommend this to.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah, I would have asked that even the sci-fi aspect.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think it's perfectly digestible.
Okay. No, that is high praise from you.
How about you?
Honestly, I would say basically the same. I think it sounds like maybe the book leans a little bit heavier, but certainly still a digestible amount. I called it a compromise between believable and accessibility.
Yeah.
I do, because it's kind of a shift that I've seen in the genre. I just gave a few recommendations. If you do like this, and maybe you're thinking maybe this is a genre I could be into more than I previously thought. Like I said, Three Body Problem also leans heavy on the sci part of sci-fi. The Blake Crouch books are very cool. I don't think we've talked about that. Do you know if they're making any of those into adaptations?
I don't
Dark
even know what
Matter
that
or
is.
Recursion?
Oh,
Okay, all right. I'll check online.
yeah, I don't know.
Very much along the same vein. One of them's kind of Schrodinger's cat on steroids. The very much the same vein, making what I'm sure is not genuinely plausible science at least seem plausible and digestible enough to be entertaining.
Yeah, totally.
And then if you truly find that this is a genre you didn't realize was your deal, Left Hand of Darkness is an example of Ursula Le Guin, really the forerunner of why we have this cool genre. Besides Isaac Asimov, of course, but I just highly recommend that. Left Hand of Darkness. Go read it, especially if you enjoy Project Hail Mary. Really cool side quest
Cool.
vein to go down.
How'd you rate the movie? Or the
Big
book?
5 stars.
The book, I guess. Five
Big
stars?
5 stars.
Sweet.
Yeah, I haven't rated the movie yet. Let me check. Let me confirm. Okay, so my first reading, I gave it 4, but especially this time around, maybe it was what you were saying, and the audiobook is more entertaining truly in its own right. But I can see it was just so delightful to return to this text. And I could see, like I said, I haven't read Artemis yet. Maybe I'll get to that in a year and go on a little Andy Weir tear. I haven't returned to The Martian in a while,
Yeah.
so maybe that'd be worthwhile. I could absolutely see rereading this. There's not the same aha moments like we
Sure.
talked about with
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. It's more just so delightful to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Big 5 star, no question.
Yeah. Cool. I'm in a pretty similar boat. When I left the theater, I gave it 4 stars, but the more and more I think about it, I might bump it up. I think I'm going to bump it up to a 4.5 on Letterboxd.
Wow.
Like I said, really visually stunning. Ryan Gosling is amazing. The score was fantastic. I don't understand. Some people are saying that the score is not good. I don't know. I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around some of the criticisms against this movie because I thought it was just really magical. But I will admit that there are some issues. I don't think it's perfect. I hate the ending. I hate the ending. And I think part of that is I don't know exactly where my brain came to this, but it seemed to be a little too pro AI for me. And the fact that this is an Amazon movie, that's like the last company that I need to even have that cross my mind, when I'm watching something. So I was a little bit grossed out.
Interesting.
And sometimes I feel that, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, so maybe I'll tell you when we hang up here. But the other thing that I thought was sort of a flaw of the movie was that sometimes the humor, there was so much humor that I think sometimes it would undercut some of those more emotional moments.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably just a matter of taste, though. Some people are going to walk away feeling like this is the funniest movie they've ever seen and give it 5 stars for that, and that's A-okay with me.
Huh.
But
I mean, it should not be a comedy.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling cries a few times in the movie, and he's only got tears on his face for about 3 or 4 seconds before he hits you with a joke and they cut to the next scene. And I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
this is a big deal. Like the well-being of everyone on Earth depends on him. And, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that. But like I said, it's almost, I love the movie so much that my gripes about it are almost not even worth whining about.
Okay. Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm so curious now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I'm excited. You'll have to text me after you see it.
Obviously.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you for joining our conversation about Project Hail Mary. Up next, we have a really exciting one, actually. We're doing Howl's Moving Castle, written by Diana Wynne Jones, and the film, a anime film directed by Hayao Miyazaki. So I'm looking forward to branching into a new genre here.
Me too.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to next time.
Bye.
That's the show for today. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know in the comments what you're reading, what you're watching, and what adaptations you'd like us to cover. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at adaptation_pod and on Twitter at adaptpod. See you next time.